Basta all hits, all Pinoy. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. V1 Radio, V1 Radio. 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 V1 Radio, V1 Radio.
O Diyos aming Ama, ang lahat ng nilalang ay marapat na sumamba sa iyo. Higit sa iyong mga biyaya, sinasamba ka namin dahil ikaw ay ikaw. Lumalapit kami sa iyo, dakilang tagapaglikha, nagsusumamo at humihingi ng kapatawaran. Kami ay nagkulang at nagkasala. Patawarin mo kami sa katigasan ng aming mga puso. Turuan mo kami at dalhin sa inyong kalooban. Tingnan mo kami ng may awa at kahabagan. Hilumin mo po ang aming bayan, ang aming mga mahal sa buhay, kaibigan, kapitbahay, karatig bayan, ganun din ang aming mga kaaway sa pandemyang kinahaharap namin sa COVID-19. Isama niyo na rin ang mga may sakit sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Panginoon, balutin mo kami ng inyong kaluwalhatian. Itago mo kami sa lilim ng inyong mga pakpak laban sa anumang kapahamakan o wala sa oras na kamatayan. Kristo, ang tinapay ng buhay, alalahanin niyo po ang mga namumuno sa aming bansa, ang mga ilaw at haligi ng bawat tahanan, at mga kawani na nagtatanggol sa aming seguridad at mga frontliners. Batid mo, Panginoon, ang mga dinaraanan at bawat ganap sa aming buhay. Espiritong Banal, aming tanggulan at gabay, imulat ang aming mga mata at ipakita si Jesus ang Panginoon at tagapagligtas, ang nag-iisang katotohanan at tanging daan tungo sa Ama. Wala nang iba. Purihin ka, O aming Diyos. Ang presensya mo ay tunay na biyaya ng aming buhay. Ito ang aming samot panalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus, Kordero ng Diyos na nag-aalis ng kasalanan ng mundo. Amen.
Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio, South Manila.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy. Panalo! Merong kwento
views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Here now is the program for the millennials that will showcase young professionals' worth, aspirations, and successes in doing what they believe is right, progressive, and inclusive. Join them as they discover the path to self and societal fulfillment while making a difference. Hosted by empowered and cool millennial Erika Mison, together with her fellow millennials, they will be making a difference. Only here on V81 Radio, South Manila.
Everyone, you are making a difference. So this is a show created to inspire and motivate the youth of today. My name is Erika Mison, and I will be your host and online friend. Last episode, I invited the Association of Young Environmental Journalists. So they are a youth-led NGO that's based in Dumaguete, and they spread awareness in terms of our environment here in the Philippines. So if you want to know more about that organization, the Association of Young Environmental Journalists, or if maybe you could help out, you can check out my episode. It's on Making a Difference Facebook page, and it's also on V81 Radio YouTube channel. So you can check out that episode and all my previous episodes ever since day one of Making a Difference. You can find it there. And yeah, so just an announcement. I hope you could all stay until the end of the show because we have a special um, announcement. We have a couple of guests coming on at the end of the show to promote their event. So if you want to know more about that event, I'm not going to say anything. So you have to stick to the end of the show. Okay, so for this episode, I invited this organization called Liferisks PH. And with me today is Norman Mendoza. He is the co-founder and advisor for Liferisks PH. So let's welcome Norman Mendoza. Hi, Norman.
Hi, Erica. Nice to
Hey.
be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you also for being on my show. I'm very, very excited to have you here. And you know what? It's super timely because today is actually Mental Health Day. So happy Mental Health Day, everyone.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Today is right, exactly. Serendipitously, today is the World Mental Health Day, and
Mhm.
we've just actually posted by our very own Miss Shane posted our celebration for the World Mental Health Day. So happy World Mental Health Day to everyone watching and listening.
All right, I know it's so timely, and I'm really excited because that's what we're gonna talk about today. And
Yep.
for those viewers out there, by the way, if you have any questions or if you wanna raise something up, feel free to comment down below, and we'll get Mr. Norman, Mr. talaga. Norman,
Norman, okay na yan. Yeah, yeah.
we'll get Norman to answer your inquiries. Okay.
Right,
All right. So
right.
before we talk about Life Risks PH, let's get to know you a little more.
Right,
So tell us
okay.
something about yourself, where you graduated from and what you're doing now. Are you focused on Life Risks PH, or do you have like a day-to-day job?
Right. Thank you for that. Kapampangan ko po. So I'm a local from Pampanga. Um, and I graduated my BS Psychology degree from the Angeles University Foundation. And then studied overseas. I studied my master's in counseling and psychotherapy in University of St. Joseph in Macau. And then I taught a couple of years from AUF, and then I went to Holy Angel University. And then my last teaching stint was in De La Salle University, Manila, which was a very exciting 2 term. And then now I'm actually in Hong Kong, so it's possibly raining where you are now, but it's sunny over here. Studying my doctoral studies in educational, majoring in educational psychology, and doing some work on well-being and mental health. So that's
Yeah.
what I've been up to, aside from watching the NBA finals, which my team Miami Heat won this morning. So that's good for mental health. Yeah, sports gives us some a sense of normalcy sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, I'm not really a sports fan, though I'm surprised that Miami Heat won. No
Yeah.
offense, Miami Heat, but it's always like
Yep.
Lakers or
It's
all
the
that.
culture.
All right. So, okay, what made you decide to get into psychology in general? Like
Oh wow.
you're picking up your doctorate now for
Yes.
educational psychology.
Psychology.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what made you decide to go into psychology?
Wow. So my mom played a very instrumental role in my decision in going to psychology. So sabi niya sa akin, so I'm picking so I the courses I chose were like physical therapy, engineering, and just looking at male dominated courses as well. And then but my mom asked me, maybe psychology is a good course. Kasi sabi niya, kung gusto mo maging doktor o kaya abogado, which is every parent's dream for for a kid, sabi niya that could be a good pre-law or pre-med course. But then on my second year, my professor there was Professor Lani Mejia. She's I think the registrar of the Angeles University. She was just teaching super well. I'm like, okay, I wanna be in this course. I wanna teach it. I wanna be a professor. I wanna research it. And so that's the history.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for you to take up your doctorate, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's like the end goal.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you mentioned you're in Hong Kong right now.
Yes.
How long have you been in Hong Kong?
Okay, 1 year. I've been here since last August, so a year and a few months, give and take. And then yeah, it's been a lot. So we Hong Kong for one, galing kami dun sa we're banning masks because of pro democracy movement, and two, requiring masks. So I always like that narrative because wow, how much things could change in a year. And the COVID-19, of course, it's not a secret that it has taken lives, taken jobs, put us in very uncomfortable positions. But yeah, it's been a year.
Wow. Yeah, I know.
Mm.
I was gonna ask you, like, how are things there in Hong Kong? How are you holding up in Hong Kong right
Well, thank you for asking. Well, we've been on a third wave, and then the public health measures relaxed a bit, and so they opened up gyms and all that.
now?
However, in the last 2 days, we're observing a new rise of cases again. So we're now on our fourth. Um, but we can't be complacent. So we need to. Everyone should play a role. Everyone should take care. Everyone should be engaged in. So I encourage everyone to, even in the Philippines, kahit sa Pinas, dapat sumunod tayo sa public health measures, and it starts with one. I'm taking that from Wilson, our president in Liferisks. It has to start with one, and he has an inside joke. He said, and it continues with two. So which is funny, but it's true. Yeah.
She Wilson. You know what?
Yeah.
I think I also spoke to Wilson when I
Yeah.
first tried to reach out to you guys because it was
Yeah.
either you or Wilson. So I hope I
Right.
get to meet Wilson as well. He
You
seems
should. You should. Yes. Pick his brain as well. Yes.
okay. All right. All right.
Uh-uh.
Are you and Wilson friends?
So
How?
yes. The
Okay.
first short answer to that is yes. But I was his college instructor when in 2015 or 14. I'm not very sure now. Time is very relative now. Pero naging student ko siya, and then along with my co-founder Paul, they were classmates. So my co-founder with Life Risks is Adrian Polyanco.
Mhm.
Taking his studies in law, very successful. Um, and they were my former students, and they turned friends. Actually, now I treat them as brothers. So it's been quite a good ride in Life Risks.
Galing naman. So that means
Mm,
okay. That means you're a very approachable professor. I mean, I remember I have a lot of professors who are also approachable, but to
right.
be working with, I don't know, I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine, right? So that means
Yes. When you
approachable,
say it that way, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
right? Right. But then you're
Yeah,
young. I know you're young. I know you're
right,
young.
right.
So, you know, that's why it's also easy. But
Mm,
yeah, so that means you're very, very approachable, very friend. Well, okay, I know we've spoken already
right,
before the actual life.
right.
So that's why I'm very excited to talk about today. And since
Yes.
we are already on the topic of
Mm-hmm.
um, you becoming friends with Wilson and Paul, so
Yes.
how did Life Risks PH happen?
Okay, we have to go all the way back, November 2018. We love saying this story, by the way. So kami ni Paul, we lagi kami mag-usap, and then we go for coffee very often with Sir Jay, with Sir Baroy, a couple of other friends. But at this one time, we were just drinking coffee at McDonald's. This is not sponsored. We went for coffee. Tapos sabi, we were just talking. And then at that time, it was only a few months after the death of one of my former students. He died to suicide, and it was not positive. It was devastating, and yeah, and all that. Um, and his friend was um incarcerated for substance abuse, substance misuse. So both of us were just talking, and we are like, we can't believe it. So we're just talking as friends, and then we were thinking we should do something. We realized the best way we can is to speak about it, to increase awareness about it. So he at first it was like just a great idea, and then this guy Paul wrote letters and just went to schools and said, we will not wait for you to invite us. Tapos pumunta na siya sa mga schools, and then ano na siya, he went out there giving out letters saying we'll give out talks for free, we'll give you the science of well-being and mental health. And so that's what we did. And
Okay.
then from then, we knew it's not a two-man team. We needed our members. We now call ourselves as life movers. So we've opened up volunteer work. So we have our vice president then, who's our interim president now, Wilson, who's classmates with Paul. Our treasurer is also a former student, Leandro, who's working as a recruitment in the HR now. And then we have Kath. They're all listening, I suppose, and I feel like Kath is also working in the HR. These are all psychometricians. And then DGEM as our public relations officer. Mark, who's my youngest brother, is our CPA. He's our auditor because he's a CPA. And then we have Shane, who's our graphics and social media a person. We have Ronnie and Cheese as our photographers. We have Doc Allen and Sir Von Gintu, who's our mentors. And it's been really quite a good kind of start for Life Risks PH. We've never expected it to be at where it is now, but we know our why, and so that's why we're here.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice. Okay, that's a nice story. And by the way, sorry to hear about your.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
not
well, I'm
easy.
very sure. I can't imagine. Well, I've gone through loss also. I mean, I've experienced losing friends as well, so it's not an easy thing. But
Nope.
you got to see the brighter side of things. You got
Right.
to spread awareness and all that. Before we move on, I just want to give a shout out to Aliyah Ambray. She's here right now. She's watching. Hi, Erica, and to Norman of Life Risks. So she is our other anchor
Hi,
there.
Aliyah.
Yeah, she is the another anchor here on V81 Radio, South Manila. Her show is Beauty in a Box. So she's the show before me, 1 to 2:30. But she's on break now. She's on season break. And yeah, hey Aliyah. Okay, sige, since she's here already, she's also the one of the SK Kagawads here in our barangay as well. So, yep, that's her.
Nice. Doing great work.
Yep. All right. Okay. So moving forward. Okay. Now that we know the backstory of Life Risk, it was
Yep.
just a great backstory to tell. By the way, I
Mm.
I, I understand why it's a nice story to tell because you got to see the brighter side of things. So now, can you explain to us what is Life Risks PH?
So, Liferisks PH is a nonprofit youth organization registered under the National Youth Commission, and we are a group of professionals
Mhm.
in based locally in Pampanga. Um, we are a group of 11 to 12 volunteers, and then we have 19 members. We're a small group.
Mm.
Um, so our main concern is to increase the well-being increase the literacy and awareness on well-being and mental health, especially among the youth, right? Especially among the youth. And that's what we do. And our 5-year plan is to take a very important role in the establishment of a crisis and suicide prevention center in Clark, Pampanga. That's our why. That's our north star. Of course, we embrace our core values, but that's our mission. Yan. So nakikipagtulungan kami sa mga teachers in Pampanga. They are inviting us. We're working closely with DepEd San Fernando. We've worked a lot with people who trust us, and we're a team of many psychometricians, registered psychometricians who are licensed to practice their profession. And yeah, we're happy that we're so one of our projects main ones is life talks. So before the pandemic hit, we always have invitations to talk to schools. We visit them, we go there for free. We're donation based, so if they give us nothing or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever money there is to donate, we go to the school. And I think our life counts is north of 10,000 now. We call them life counts to every
Okay.
student who participated in our life talk. So yeah, so we're counting. And then we've visited many schools and many regions as well. Yan. So masaya kami kasi we are being able to help people learn more about mental health and learn more about well-being. Yeah.
And okay, why I want you to answer this question.
Mm-mm.
Why focus on well-being? Why focus on mental health?
Right. So it's not a secret. The mere fact that we call for a day where it's called the Mental Health Awareness Day calls for the lack of awareness for mental health.
Mhm.
And we realize that kasi there's a huge stigma. Marami yung stigma with well-being, not only in the Philippines but all over the world. But when we talk about mental health, there's some we feel we need to take it carefully. Parang we have to approach it with some sense of caution,
Mm.
which means we're not that comfortable yet with talking about well-being, mental health. But we know that when a concept is stigmatized, it's so difficult to seek help for it, right? It's not the same going to the dentist and it's not the same going to a psychologist. Until those two behaviors are treated in the same way, we cannot say that there's no stigma to mental health, right? When you feel masakit ng ngipin mo, you're booking the first booking to the dentist. You don't care how much it costs, right? You don't care you need to wait in line. You will exhaust the whole day for that dental checkup, right? But when we're talking about seeking mental health support or going for counseling, going for therapy, you need to parang juggle a lot of things before you decide. You need to be considering too many things. So in our mental health talks, I always ask, when was the last time you went to the dentist, right? And usually people go there once a year.
Mhm.
Um, but then I ask, when was the last time you had someone talk to you about how you feel and how you think and how you behave? And the answer is, well, I have not yet done that, right? But the awareness that you have not yet done that, we start there. That's not to be ashamed of. If you've never been to a psychologist, a counselor, a therapist, or even a general physician, a doctor, that's step one. So now you say, oh nga no, ako hindi pa ako nagpatingin or nagpa-check up. I've not done that. Never. I don't even think it's necessary. May ganon. So parang that's the first step. And then when you realize, oh nga no, bakit hindi? That's where we start to work. Parang okay, now we're in the right track. We're now asking ourselves, well, why have I not done that yet? And so that's really why we need to focus on mental health and well-being. We need to be asking for help. We cannot do this by winging it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it's very important now during this pandemic. because
Yes.
I've been hearing a lot of people, they're struggling with
Right.
their mental health, and they actually want to. A lot of people want to talk to people already. So,
Right. The help seeking has increased. It's good on one hand, or like it's like people are acknowledging, okay, we need to talk about it. But it's also not good on the other hand because we're like, okay, the problem is big. We don't have enough professionals and all that. But we have to take it one step at a time talaga. So we have worked with the stigma, and then we're now when they seek help, we work with providing the support. So that's why it's important to talk about mental health. That's sabi mo pa nga, especially now COVID-19. Our emotions are all over the place. We could be overthinking, we can be ruminating. So it's really good to have an anchor that can anchor us, and that's help seeking, providing a platform for us to seek help.
right, and I mean, you're just at home. Well, me, I'm just at home, and the tendency you start to think of things
Yeah,
and
you're cooped up, cabin fever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So I am actually excited to talk more about what you do to help these people out. But before we dive into that, we are gonna go on a short break. But don't leave. We are gonna after the break we are gonna talk to Norman again, and we are gonna find out what they do to help out these people who are struggling with their mental health. So I'll see you guys in a bit. We'll be right back.
We'll be back shortly, making a difference. Only here on V81 Radio, South Manila. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O di ba madali lang, kaya i-like at i-follow na. Gusto niyo ba ng bagong tracks na mapapakinggan ngayong October?
Pwede bang mapakilala? Is that I better left us alone walking? Ba't sabi mo hindi mo ko iwan?
Abangan at tumutok lang tuwing Sunday, 1 p.m. dito sa Napalm, your new all-Pinoy alternative music source. At makijam, kasama sina Ram Martinez, Isotone, at CD and the Years. Dito lang yan sa Napalm, your new all-Pinoy alternative music source. Exclusively on V81 Radio, South Manila. Kabayan, nahuhomesick ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan? Mga bagong artist. Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Talagang October to remember dahil hindi din puhuhuli ang ibang Viva OPM artists na sasabak sa kantahan sa Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 kasama si Papa Gio, Yumi Laksamana, Isid, Solstice, Just Rap, and Sabu. Kaya iset nyo na ang mga kalendaryo nyo tuwing Merkules 7pm California Time o Huwebes 10am Pinas Time. At samahan si Papa Gio para makipagkulitan, tawanan at kantahan sa Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2. Dito yan sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Now back to Making a Difference, only here on V81 Radio, South Manila.
Welcome back to Making a Difference. So, if you are just tuning in right now, my name is Erica, and you are now watching Making a Difference, a show created to really inspire and motivate our youth of today. So, in this episode, I before the break, I just introduced Norman Mendoza. He is the co-founder of Liferisks PH. So, Liferisks PH is a youth organization that is based in Pampanga. They started around 2018, and they spread awareness about the well-being and about our well-being and mental health, especially to the youth. And it's actually very timely because happy Mental Health Day to everyone. And now I'm gonna call back Norman, and we are gonna get to know more about their projects and what they call life talks. Tama ba yun, Norman? Life
Yes,
talks.
Erica, we have life talks.
Okay. All right. So, sige, let's talk about more on what you guys do, your projects. Maybe you can give us what you've done already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of the work we did, medyo limited siya online because of obviously the pandemic has hit us, and our life talks were hindered. As we all, there's always an ongoing joke among the movers na parang we've never missed a month ever since we were founded in November 2018. Every month we had the life talk. We went to a school, the biggest school was a public school, and it's a full covered court, grade 7, 8, 9, and 10, senior high school students. We never missed a month until COVID-19 kind of happened in 2020. So we pivoted.
Mhm.
So we made an effort that we will be able to transition our movement, our volunteer work online. And one of our major projects this year was GPulse COVID-19, right?
Mhm.
GPulse COVID-19 is a 15-minute self-evaluation.
Mhm.
People open a link and they'll be asked questions based from reliable and valid research instruments. And then with the platform that we use, which is Qualtrics, which is being provided generously to us by my university here in Hong Kong, Education University,
Mhm.
we use that platform so that when students, community residents all over the Philippines, it's available both in English and Filipino, which is I don't want people to be looking for it now because it's currently under maintenance. We'll release it in 1 or 2 weeks time. We're kind of revising our questions because the context when it started and the context now is a little bit different.
Mhm.
But going back, they will take it. It's a 15 minute survey, and then it has questions about social support, sleep, anxiety, depression, well-being, happiness, optimism, and even hope. So they answer this, and then immediately after, they'll get a reliable well-being score, and the score will provide them as well with some evidence-based tips so that they will be able to recalibrate their sleep, seek for more social support if it's low. So we have that as part of our GPulse COVID-19. People are asking what made us kind of build that survey, and actually the work was not just in March. We released it March 23, um, 2020. But that's
Mhm.
not the first iteration actually. Meron kaming ginawa na hindi GPulse COVID, but it's called GPulse. We just call it GPulse 1, which
Okay.
we launched in April 2019. If you remember, nung April 2019, merong series of earthquake all over Luzon.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah. Yeah.
remember that, Erica?
Right.
I
Right.
was somewhere in Manila at the time. It was a Monday. There
Okay.
were series of earthquakes, and
Right.
as people, knowledgeable about how disasters, how natural hazards can influence our well-being and mental health, we
Mhm.
knew that that was needed at that time, and we released it then. Medyo manual pa kami noon. We're only using SurveyMonkey, and then Paul, DGem, Kath, all our movers are like actively sending emails, of course, with virtue of confidentiality, para makita nila yung results, and then we provide them with evidence-based tips on how to kind of recover. Kasi there is some level of hyperarousal. So we were even invited to give psychological first aid in Clark, Pampanga, because a lot of BPO industries there were panicked, because of the earthquake. Sabi nila na their reports were like makita lang nilang gumagalaw yung tubig sa baso, they start to really panic because it's really that bothersome. So we built that G-Pulse and then we've kind of opened it up again. So the reason why it's called G-Pulse is because, well, it's short for Global People's Unexpected Life Event Self-Evaluation, which is quite a mouthful, but um it is quite a mouthful, Erica. So it goes Global People's Unexpected Life Event Self-Evaluations, or
Galing.
GPALs.
Ay, sinulat ko talaga.
Essentially, we
Okay.
essentially, ano siya, parang gusto namin, parang just checking your pulse. 'Di ba,
Hmm.
when you want to check people's pulse, and so yun ang inspiration namin. It's not giving you a diagnosis. We of course always tell them that the results is not a diagnosis,
Mhm.
but we want you to have a sense of how are you. It's no different than having a thermometer under your armpit or a thermogun on your forehead. You want to check how you've been, and so that's the inspiration behind it, and that's one of our major projects this year.
Okay, galing. Sorry, I got so amazed with the G pulse. It's hard to come up with acronyms, so I really wrote it.
Yes.
Okay, nice. But that's a very good idea. I like that idea, and it's naman how we're transitioning into the digital age, especially now.
Yes.
Bilis ng transformation natin because of the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. So, such a
Right.
good idea. I can't wait
Mm.
for that to launch. I'm gonna watch out for that.
Right.
And
Please,
it's on
please
your
do.
phone already, right?
Say,
It's on
say
your
that
phone.
again.
It's
It's
on
on
your
your
phone.
phone.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. So it easy access and so okay. So let's say you have the data already. I'm just
Right.
curious.
Yeah.
You have the data already. Then you really study it and then
Yes.
on talagang manually study it.
Well, the
Ay,
manual part, it comes dun sa statistical analysis, right? When
okay.
we have the data, of course, we're not going to look at individual responses.
Oo, oo.
We're
Yeah.
going to look at the data in aggregate, so in total. So we really studied it, and partly good, partly not so good results. So we know that some 20 to 24% of people based in NCR, adults based in NCR, are experiencing severe anxiety symptoms. By severe, we mean they really cannot control their worry. They feel like a lot of things are beyond their control, which is, we tell them that this score could be attributed with COVID-19, because we always say that an abnormal response to an abnormal situation is a normal response, right? So if you're struggling because this situation is really, difficult, then that's normal. And so, but that we should not allow that to kind of be in the way of us seeking support and seeking help. But yeah, that's one of the statistics, and we also know that 1 in 5 people are having difficulty falling asleep, because syempre you've taken away commute, you've taken away school, you've taken away several roles that parents and students have. So a lot of that really parang na earthquake din yung set of routines natin eh. So that really comes in the way, and so that's what we are doing with the data so far. We've also published one paper wherein we show how valid our locus of hope scale is. And this is under the leadership of Professor Alan Bernardo, distinguished professor at the De La Salle University, Manila.
Mhm.
So that's really productive, and we're really looking forward to having an executive report. We really want, because you've asked about the data, Erica, di ba? So ang mga sumagot sa survey namin we have around 11,000 in total, right? And this is across different regions in the Philippines. 7,000 for the 7,000 for the Filipino survey, and around 4 to 5,000 for the English survey. And so we're looking at this data, and we really want to write a report so that NGOs, um, um, government, both local and national levels, could see this and say, okay, this is how they are the citizens felt in the first 2 months of the quarantine measures. So that, I think that's really helpful if we can put that together.
That will be really helpful. I'm nodding my head a
Right.
lot right now. I
Mm.
Yeah, and with the youth as well.
Yes.
I personally involved here in our barangay and with the city also.
Yeah.
And um I could see that a lot of the youth are struggling mentally.
Yes.
So
So
that,
when we ran our analysis, Erica, we know that the younger ones are struggling more than the older ones.
yeah.
For example, yeah, so they cannot regulate their emotions really well. So that's one of our findings. Of course, this is not yet published papers, but from our preliminary analysis, we're looking at the younger cohorts of the country, the residents. So yung mga bata, mga estudyante, 18 to 24 years old, are really having challenges regulating their emotions. This is significantly lower than the emotion regulation of adults. So the adults are able to reappraise their emotions. So nasasabi nila, this is only for this year. Let's
Mm,
look forward to next year. But the younger ones are saying, we don't know how this would look like, and it's crazy. So we know that the younger ones really need some help.
yeah, that's really true. And
Mm,
okay, so with that, doon ata papasok yung life talks nyo.
right. So the life talks
Okay.
would be
So
based from the findings of the GPALs.
okay, so how how is it now? I mean, now that you can't really do it face to face, I said still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. So, if you check our page in Liferisks PH, you will be able to find our schedule for this mental health month, which is October. We've just provided a talk with uh, Life Coach Philippines. We've been invited there. We've also been invited to several schools in the Angeles City Science High School. And then we've two upcoming talks for Angeles University Foundation, both in the college level and in the senior high school. And so we're doing this for free, donation based, as long as our schedules permit. We know that sustainability is important, so we really scale them. Like we could do one time in a week, with the leadership of Wilson, our interim president. And so that's what we do. And then our tips, yung mga dinidiscuss naming mental health concerns, base sila dun sa GPAL's COVID-19 survey. So we're
Okay.
not only grabbing topics out of thin air, and we're saying, okay, this is what the data says, and we should, target these symptoms so that we will be, more effective with our life talks. Yeah.
Yeah. May, what do you call that? May backer kayo. I don't know if that's the right
Yes.
term. Oh,
So
you're
a lot of
really
people call it evidence
right.
based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, so it's just really backed up with solid statistics, solid evidence, and then we try our best to not shortchange the students and the youth and tell them, okay, this is what we found, and from research, this is what works, and we try to tie them all together, wove them into our life talk, and see if it helps. And we've been getting a lot of positive feedback, and we're happy that that's happening. Yeah, we're giving
yeah,
talks to teachers, we've given talks to non-teaching personnels in schools, so it's just varied backgrounds, and it's really positive.
nice. Okay. I know you have a short like presentation
Right.
prepared. So maybe we could flash that on screen right now
Right.
because I'm curious. I know a while ago I said, okay, I'll ask you this about later.
Right.
All right, here we go. This
So
is, go
yeah,
ahead.
this is a brief presentation of what we've been doing in Life Risks PH,
Mhm.
about the situation of well-being and mental health during COVID-19. And one of them is, of course, our project, which is the online self-screening and self-evaluation called GPulse. So if we can move to the next few slides, we would find that how the pandemic COVID-19 has influenced many of our routines. I think I alluded to this a while ago, na parang we're having problems sleeping. A lot of our routines are, all over the place, so to speak. And then some experts even would say na parang the mental health concerns would be the next wave of problems or situations that would concern us moving forward. Historically, however, when we look at the data from the SARS epidemic and the Ebola epidemic, we know that these outbreaks really challenge us mentally, and that is something that we need to acknowledge, and that's something we need to work on.
Mhm. Yeah, tama.
So in the next slide, we'll also find that the reason behind this is everything has changed. Public transportation has changed. What you need to wear has changed. And so a lot of that is unprecedented. So hindi natin alam kailan matatapos 'to, tapos sapat ba yung, magiging financial resources ko.
Mm.
We have to think about this, in so we let's take a 1 or 2 steps back and think, if we're gonna require people to wear masks and wear face shields, right? What if they can't even afford to buy food? I mean, that's being swept under the rug now, and because of these parang difficult decisions that people need to make, there's obviously going to be some weakening of community trust, and this is the thing you don't want to be happening in a country or in a city, in a territory na parang people don't trust each other. We don't want that to happen, and of course, with this as background, we can only surmise that people are not feeling well. People are irritable, people are easily upset, people are challenged, and we are not yet talking about yung mga case-to-case basis. We're not yet talking about pregnant women, people going through dialysis, which needs to go to the doctor for to the hospital. I'm sorry, here and there. So there's so many contextual variables that we need to consider.
Right. Yeah.
So we did that. I think we've talked about this very briefly. So GPulse is that it's something you can check on your phone, laptop,
Mm.
tablet. So there's that as well. So then the next slide, please. Yeah, so we did it. We claim it to be state of the art because I think it's really a good technology. We're a group of people. So the research team is composed of yours truly, and then we have our interim president Wilson, who did tremendous job in really making sure that the scoring is accurate. My co-founder Paul Liangco really did a good job in making sure that the interpretations are precise, and they are translated in a manner that could be understood by local Filipinos. So meron kaming Filipino and English versions, and then Leandro did a lot of our proofreading work, did a lot of our technical work and translation as well.
Okay.
So, like I said, we have around 11,000 self evaluations released, and at the end of the survey, we ask yung mga nagte-take ng survey, sabi namin, kumusta po yung pakiramdam ninyo? That's one. We asked them 3 questions sa dulo. Kumusta po yung pakiramdam ninyo? Kumusta po kayo naman po ang mag-assess sa amin? I said, kumusta po yung survey namin? And then, would you recommend this survey to other people? And on a scale of 1 to 5, we've been getting somewhere north of 4.7 stars in average. So we're happy about ourselves. We know there's a lot of room for improvement, that's for sure.
course.
Pero we're happy about the reach. So a lot of our respondents, 75% are females, and 42% are coming from NCR, and then 4A and 3 will be the second to the majority. So like I said kanina, medyo challenged ang mental health and well-being natin. I think if we go to the next slide, I want to cue on the well-being of the Filipinos. So in this data of around 3,000 adults, 20% or 1 in 5 are experiencing severe anxiety. So
Wow.
labis na pagkabahala. So, and again, we have to put it into context. And this is near national estimates. Really, the average is 1 in 5 would go through some severe anxiety symptoms every year. So that's what we've been seeing, and this is higher when we look at the national data, which is it will be at 24%. So
Wow.
that's higher. So if
That's
we go to the next
right.
slides, yeah, and then, like I said, 1 in 4 Filipinos are having difficulty falling asleep. They reported this. Again, this is in light of changes in routines and changes with work schedule, school schedule, or lack thereof. Yeah. So next slide, please. There we go. Okay, this I think is very important, right? These are symptoms of post traumatic stress disorder
Okay.
or PTSD.
Yeah.
And this is a scale that you will be presented only if you said you are a frontline worker. So this is hidden in if you're not a frontline worker, you will not answer this survey. right? But we have a display logic where if you said you're a frontline worker, we will ask you about this. So we ask the 20 item scale, which is also called the PTSD checklist, PCL5. And what we found is half or more than half of the frontline workers are experiencing moderate to high post traumatic stress symptoms. And when we say post traumatic stress symptoms, hindi nila makalimutan yung the death of a patient, the death of a colleague, risk to themselves or others, and this has been bothering them. So they're really at the forefront. They're at the trenches. Nasa trinchera sila ng laban. They're at the front line. So if we really need to provide some help with our frontline workers, especially with their mind and mental health. Yeah.
That's really good.
Right. Of course, I don't want it to be like on a very downward spiral with this. So it's good to know that at least 74% are experiencing moderate to flourishing well-being, which means these are happy people.
Okay.
These are people who are trying to do their best to cope.
Yeah.
These are people who are just doing everything they can to take care of their well-being and mental health. Of course, um, we have to be thinking about the other 26% na parang, oh, okay, this is positive, but what about the other 26? And that's when we say, okay, we need to be providing a lot more information online on how people can help themselves and how people can help others.
Right. That's a good That's a good number. That's good to know.
That's
It's
good
not
to know. Yes. So
that
this is like the 3 and 4. Yeah.
yes. So at least we know. And Filipinos actually are really known to be very happy. you know, it other when they hear of Filipinos, they're always so happy. They're going through so much, but they still
We're
try
resilient.
forward. Yes.
Yes.
So that's a very good number. That's very good
Right.
news to
Erica, I
hear.
want to ask you something. Have you heard about false positivity or toxic optimism or something to that effect?
False positivity.
Right.
I think I've only heard it once.
Right. So it's
Okay.
about this concept is about when we try to mask the struggle with a smiling face. And we say, kaya natin yan, we'll bounce back. And it's part of being a Filipino too. And actually, evidence suggests that we are capable of post-traumatic growth, which means after a disaster or after a national hazard, we would observe growth in well-being and mental health of Filipinos, Pinoy especially in the natural hazard struck areas in Mindanao and Visayas. So
Right.
that's good, but at the same time, we don't want to romanticize that too much.
Of course.
So on our end, we want to be careful. If you feel
Right.
negative during this time, we want to validate that it's okay to not be okay. It's cliche for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Again, to the viewers out there, it's okay to not be okay. If I may just add on to that, there are a lot also who are scared to open up because they feel
Yes.
like they are going to be judged.
There we
They're
go. Yeah.
We can actually talk about that a bit more later and how the youth could deal with that. Maybe you could give us more advice on that. So
Sure.
let's move forward to the volunteerism. So
Right. So yeah, we did a lot of volunteer work. Like I said, we've given a lot of talks online. Again, these are all done for free. Because of this, the Department of Education, at least in the city of San Fernando, Pampanga division, worked together, and we've signed a memorandum of agreement that we will be providing them with a specific GPALs for their teachers, students, and NTPs, and we've delivered to that agreement. We've given them talks as well, and then we've recently published papers, scientific ones for using the data that we have for GPALs, and this is all coming along on with the spirit of volunteerism. This is all none of these things that we do now is possible without the volunteers we have in Life Risks.
all
They're
right.
just a bunch of professionals who are like, okay, I want to help out. And these are DJem, Kath, Wilson, Mark, Leandro. The list is very long. Ronnie, Cheese, of course, Paul. It's just none of this is really possible without their spirit of volunteer work.
Right. And speaking of volunteer work, are you guys open to volunteers?
Right.
our viewers, you, oh, I want to help out
Oh,
too.
yes, definitely. We are open for volunteer work. So, if you go to our page, you can send us a message there.
Mhm.
Um, and you just tell us what is your strength, and we will accept you as a volunteer. We are looking at increasing the numbers for us. We surely need all hands on deck so that
Yes.
we'll be able to put together this movement to the community. None of this is done for personal gains. This is all for the community.
Right. Yes. So again, if there are
This is
viewers
who we
out there,
are right there.
go,
Yeah,
go for
join us
it.
and become a mover. Yes. So
Okay.
looking at that list, yeah, Leandro's there, Ronnie's there, Cheese, Paul, Kath, DJM. So it's just really
This
nice to see this
is
photo.
the team.
Yes, this is our team. Yeah. We call ourselves movers.
Viewers. So yeah, you guys are definitely. mo- What do we?
Moving things. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
All right.
I
Great.
agree.
Next slide, please. All
So
right.
that's
Yeah.
it. Again, I want to thank, of course, all our volunteers, Doc Allen, Sir Von. If I'm missing out names, I'm really sorry, but none of this, Eric, I can tell you, is possible without their undying and relentless attitude towards citizenship, volunteer work. If I was an HR, which I was, if I am an HR recruitment, I'm going for these people. I'm going for volunteers who, during this pandemic, they said, I'm also going through personal things, but I'm also going to do volunteer work. We will realize in Life Risk, we will realize that what we have becomes bigger when we start giving it to others.
Mhm.
We'll realize, oh, this is something I have pala. And you'll realize how meaningful that is when you start giving it and offering it to others. Yeah.
That's really true. Okay,
Mm.
so there you go. Life Risks PH, that's what they do, and that those are some of their projects. Before we move forward to the break, I know in the beginning I asked you about Life Risks PH, and you mentioned that you do have an end goal as an organization. So maybe we
Yes.
could dive deeper into that.
Yeah.
Um, what again is your 5-year plan? Ito, di ko na really
Right.
interested din eh. Sabi ko, oo nga, no. Dapat may 5-year plan ang mga organizations. Actually, even yourself. Di
Yeah.
ba?
Yeah. Yes.
You said yourself during the test
Yes.
broadcast na,
Yep.
if you have that goal, you will really work towards that goal. You're gonna just push yourself to work
Yes.
towards that goal. So,
Yes. Because so our 5-year plan. So again, taking a few steps back, we know that change will happen. But you know what's unique, Erica? Yung lasting change. That's what we
that,
need to have, like an idea about lasting change. I mean, 10 years later, 20 years later, Life Risks PH will move on to new leadership, to new volunteer work. It could be international um, for all we know. But for now, when we built this, Paul and I, we said we need to have this with something na feasible and that would bring about lasting change. And we said, all right, why don't we build a crisis and suicide prevention center in Clark?
Mhm.
And then that ever since has been our north star. It's
Mhm.
when we're tired, when parang we're occupied with our own personal things. Lagi namin iniisip, everything that we do, does it align us with that, with the creation of that? And so ang ini-imagine namin, which Coach Ron Go from Widas Foundation in Clark really sees in us. We've had discussions about this. Parang it's a center na pwede ka, if you're struggling, you can walk in and we can give you a place to stay for like 2 to 3 days, have you engage with activities helpful for your mental health and well-being. Parang that's a haven for people who are struggling and they just need a day or two to kind of just be in tune with themselves, talk to others who are also going through the same thing. That's really our goal. And you talked about this, Erica, na parang even on a personal level, especially now that there's COVID-19, we need to be thinking kind of long term. Like in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, he said, we need to think about life in seasons, sabi niya. Because if we parang there's a winter, there's a spring, there's a summer, and a fall. We need to think about, okay, 2020 might be my break. When I mean that, ibig ko sabihin yung baka wala muna to. This might be a null and void year for me, for my career, for those who have lost their in source of income. So you have that there. Na parang think of your life in seasons. Some people might say, okay, 2020, I'm gonna crush it. People who own Zoom have earned a lot during this time, right? Pero a lot of us need to be thinking, okay, this season is this. Okay, next time. So we really need to think about looking at our lives in different phases. So this is a phase, and we can target the next phase moving forward. So that's what we want to do in Life Risk long term.
And I can't wait to see that happen. That
Boy,
what we're doing right now, that's very possible, and I'm really excited to see that for you for Life Risk PH. All right,
yeah,
so we're gonna go.
yeah.
Sorry, you're gonna say.
No, I just said, I know, Erica, we just want to speak it into fruition. Now we just keep on speaking about it until suddenly the building is up, and we'll be happy to see it do its thing.
Yeah. So maybe somebody out there would wanna donate. Hi, viewers.
That's exactly why I said it. I put it out there. Thanks, Erica.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so we are gonna go on a very quick break, but when we come back, we are gonna talk again to Norman, and we are going to ask him for his advice on how we can manage our well-being and mental health, especially during this pandemic. So if you have any questions for Norman, please prepare them, comment them down below, and we are gonna make sure that he gets to answer your questions. So we are gonna be right back after these few announcements.
We'll be back shortly, making a difference. Only here on V81 Radio, South Manila. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan? Mga bagong artist. Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! A spirit-filled song that talks about healing from the Lord Jesus Christ, our great healer.
Nasasaktan, kumikirot ang aking puso.
Hilumin mo, awit ng kagalingan at pagsamba by Felsen.
Hilumin mo ang sukat ng aking puso.
Digitally available everywhere and here on V81 Radio.
Ikot pagturo ko dahil lang ngayon at ang bukas.
Now back to Making a Difference, only here on V81 Radio, South Manila.
Okay, welcome back to Making a Difference. If you are just tuning in right now, don't worry, you didn't really miss out on a lot. I feel like this is the most important part of the show. So again, my name is Erika and welcome to Making a Difference. So for this episode, I've invited Liferisks PH, and to represent Liferisks, I have Norman Mendoza. So again, Liferisks PH is an organization that started in 2018, in Pampanga, and they spread awareness on about our well-being and mental health, especially, of course, to the youth. So I'd like to call on Norman back on screen.
Hi again, Erica, and hello everyone to who are tuning in.
All right. So we talked about Life Risks PH. We talked about what you guys do, your projects, and your future plans. And now let's talk about the very main topic, which is really the importance of, managing your mental health um, properly, if I may
Right.
put that term. So I know you. So you're the one who speaks, no? During the live talks. Is that
The
you or
life
others then?
Right. We have two more speakers. So
Mm.
I'm one of the speakers for Life Risks. We have our interim president Wilson, who's also providing talks. Then we also have Keanu Pascual, who is also our new speaker. So we are
Oh,
three in the team who are providing all the talks. We tend to get a lot of credit, but again, this is all because of our volunteers. None of what we do really would be materializing without their a lot of the back end work. You know this, Erica, diba? The tech team is just invaluable.
right. And shout out, of course, to the best tech team ever. Wow, best tech team. B81 Radio Tech Team. Okay. All right. So, where were we? We were talking about the talks, live talks.
Right.
Tama. Okay. So, so far, how has your, maybe you could share an experience while you were talking, and then maybe somebody, you learn something from someone, or like basta an experience na, okay, I will remember this and I will take this with me till the end of time, parang ganon.
Wow.
Maybe
Yes.
may experience
So
ka, or baka may, you talk to someone and you were just like mind blown na, wow.
right. Well,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to think of one, but we had a lot. I cannot figure out one because not because there was none, but we just had too many talks. We learned a lot from the crowd, the audience, our attendees. I think right now on top of my head, naalala ko yung isang teacher. So we gave a talk, and the teacher asked, Norman, how do I stay motivated? And she said, how do I stay motivated if I'm in my mid 50s and I'm struggling to cope with the new normal of education that involves a lot of online work. And we've seen a lot of viral photos of older teachers trying to do their best to provide, education to learners and students. So that really struck me. Sabi ko, wow, like we owe it a lot to our teachers. I think very recently we celebrated Teachers Day, World Teachers Day. I think 5 days ago, October 5, and we just need to give a lot of props to teachers who are really just pulling things together to work. So that really jumped at me nung nagbigay kami ng talk na parang wow, teachers are really doing one hell of a job to put this together. Of course, I'm not saying that students are not struggling on the level of the student, they're doing their best. On the level of the teachers, they're also doing their best. So both teams are just doing their best. We're in the same team. We're in the team of learning. We're in the team of education. So it's not a competition who is doing more difficult things and more challenging things. But it's important to acknowledge that students are doing their best, teachers are doing their best, and then that's all you could ask for.
No, that's true. I actually interviewed a couple of teachers a while back,
Yeah.
young teachers as well, and we talked about how they're also really managing everything now that everything's online, and they really want to still educate their students. Props to teachers as well. They're
Yes.
working like 100 times more to just
Yes.
really, the passion is there. You can see it. So,
Yeah.
saludo ako sa mga teachers natin here.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So, ayun.
Just before we move on, Erica, one quick note. If you're a student and you're attending online classes,
Mm.
and it's live and Zoom or Google Meet, whatever, try to do this with your teachers. Like turn on your video for like even for a few minutes and just nod and listen to them because it's difficult to talk in a void na parang hindi mo you can't get some nonverbal. So a lot of our communication is nonverbal. So we can't see that, we can't get that as teachers, that level of stimulate, because that motivates a teacher when he sees that the classroom is engaged. And those nodders na parang we need those as teachers and as people providing talks online. We need people to nod. We need that validation for it to feel real, because sometimes I've talked to a lot of teachers and they said the teaching doesn't feel real anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
parang we really need your help, students. If you can nod, give us
Not.
these, clap your hands. I mean, it could go a long way.
Yeah. So there you heard it first. Okay, Norman. Please, students, to help
Yeah,
your teachers out. I know we know that you love your teachers so much. So help them out, and this will
right.
for sure make their day. I know it's hard to talk to a screen.
Oh,
I'm sure.
difficult. Yeah.
That's why I require all my guests okay on screen, everyone, possible.
Yep.
All right. So before the break, I mentioned that there are some people, especially the youth, yung mga kabataan nowadays, they're actually kind of scared to speak up about what they're feeling because they feel like they're gonna get bullied or they're gonna get judged or no one's gonna understand them.
Right.
How can they deal with that? Or maybe you could share a piece of advice to those who want to speak up, but they're being stopped by all these negative thoughts in their head.
Thoughts, exactly. Yes. Oh, like parang what gets in their way are their thoughts.
Mm-mm.
Parang iniisip nila na wala namang makikinig, that's one. Or if they ever listen, they would just tell me, Kaya mo yan, okay lang yan, magpakalalaki ka." There's so many other lines, man up, and we always have that in our forefront, na
Yes.
parang that really um demotivate us for seeking help. So number one, I think what you can do is, I always start off with this, and that is, if you're down, stay down. I really like this approach. So if you're feeling down for a day, just stay down, because the reason why we can't go back up is because when we fall down, we reject it. We say, I shouldn't be down, I shouldn't be upset. That's called emotional suppression. What we
Mm,
need to do is to acknowledge that emotion. If you're down, you stay down. And I'm quoting this from LeBron James from a couple of finals ago. He ran into a play. Parang, there's so much you can get from sports. So if you're a sports fan,
yes.
so there's really a lot of things we can get from sports. But this one instance, I was watching it, and LeBron James had a mic. Alam mo yung, Erica, sometimes they put microphones on players, di ba? And then
Yes.
nako-cover nila yun sa news. And so
Oo.
someone did the layup, he ran to the person, to the teammate, and he said, while running to the teammate to help him get up, LeBron was shouting, stay down, right? And then when he picked him up, he said, if you fall down, stay down, your brother will help you. He said that to the guy. And I'm like, wow, that's super powerful, right? So that's why I always say, if you're feeling down, accept that, like, today, okay, today is not my day, right? It doesn't mean tomorrow you'll still feel low and sad and depressed or anxious, but sometimes you have to acknowledge, okay, today is not my day. Today I might need to take some rest. And so number one, if you're not feeling well, acknowledge it, like embrace it. And our emotions change moment by moment, hour by hour. Few people forget that. So pagka you feel sad, try to embrace that in the meantime. And then the next step is really towards seeking help. And you start with the people you trust, your confidants, your closest friend. So if you're a student struggling, you say to yourself, okay lang to, tama, tama. I should normalize this feeling, okay lang. So today I'm not feeling like me, the usual me.
Mm-mm.
And so tomorrow I might be. So I'm just gonna write it down on a journal. So one of the tips also is, if you have a calendar at home,
Mm.
every day, before the day ends, before you go to sleep, write an emotion there. Right? Write an emotion there, like anxious. And then tomorrow you do it again, and then you will just realize, after the month has ended, you went through several emotions. you went through an anxious day, an exciting day because you were watching sports, a depressed day because you had a fight with a friend who's really close to you,
Yeah.
and another an anxiety day because your job is in trouble, and
Mhm.
then your friend sent you deliveries from Lazada, wherever, as a remote act of kindness, and you felt really, really happy. And then after a month, you'll realize, wow, that's a lot of emotion. Because sometimes we only remember the most recent emotion we felt. We
Yes.
tend to forget that in this month we've actually been to, you know, we've been humans, and that's feeling a spectrum, a wide range of emotions.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. So, yun nga eh. I also learned that from other people as well. Na if you're down, talagang,
You-
it's fine. It's fine. It's
yes.
a
Oh,
we're like what you said, we're only human. We have
yes.
all these feelings. We go through different things and all.
Right.
Okay, I
Right.
have another question.
Mm-hmm.
How okay, I mentioned a while ago, we are all at home. Well, me, I am. I don't go out a lot.
Most of us are, yes.
Yeah, most of us are. I don't go out if really not needed.
Necessary, yeah.
So there are sometimes, people tend to think about things and their mind goes everywhere. It wanders off to new places. And sometimes that's where it triggers. Um,
Right.
and what advice can you give? Since, we're all just at home, what can we do to prevent that from happening or, lessen it?
Right. So that's, I think, is the question of the year, parang
Oh,
how do I, how do, in this new normal thing, how do I
mhm.
get back to doing normal things? And
Yeah.
so I will narrow it down to kind of four tips. I'm getting this from Mental Health First Aid in England. They're putting in a set of strategies for us to
Mhm.
support ourselves
Yeah.
amid the pandemic. This is true applicable for both working from home and for students on online learning or modular blended learning. And one of them is actually setting up your routine. So get set up. That's number one.
Okay.
Setting up a feasible routine. And that kicks off with waking up at the same time every day. That's the way to, you want to win the morning. Tim Ferriss said, "Win the morning, you win the day." So you want to kick it off on the right notch. And this is also note to self, because sometimes I oversleep or whatever. But we, like I said, if you're down, you stay down. But you have to build. You have to help yourself. So one way to help yourself is to wake up at the same time every day, so that you get some form of routine in, because that's in your control, right?
Mhm.
What time you wake up, that's on you. No job, no company can change that for you, of course, unless you're on graveyard schedule. But you want
Mhm.
to set up that routine.
Mhm.
On this time I eat, on this time I work. So you really want to get set up. So that's number one. Wake up at the same time every day.
Mm.
I'm gonna let you in a secret.
Okay, what
The thing I ask myself as well is, when I wake up, I don't engage in social media.
aha.
Of course, sometimes
My
I,
that's that's what my parents tell us to do.
yes, you really wanna, because the things you follow on your social media predict your thoughts. They
Yeah.
predict your thoughts. If you see a breaking news, that automatically hijacks whatever you had planned for the day. So you want your 10 minutes to be yours. 10 minutes in 24 hours is point something percent, right?
Mm-mm.
So point something percent of your day. So you really, really want to be able to give that 10 minutes to yourself. Get something to drink. So the last thing you want to do 10 minutes after you wake up is to really engage on social media. Get something to drink, go to the wash your face or whatever.
Yeah.
Pray. Praying is very helpful. That's wishing good to yourself and others, regardless of your religious background. So that's part of having that routine. And I always ask myself in the morning, what will I do today that will make me sleep better tonight? And I focus everything on that. Yeah.
Ooh.
If it's doing this interview well, if it's walking 10,000 steps today,
Mhm.
that's that. If I check that tonight, I'll sleep better. So that's
Mm-mm.
one. So really want to get yourselves in routine. Waking
Yeah.
up in the same time every day is one of the best ways to do it. Number two is
Right.
get moving. Get moving in a sense that you want to, the body is not meant to sit still. The reason why you're always upset sometimes, or you catch yourself parang hindi naman ako dating ganito eh, pero
Yeah.
ngayon parang konting inis lang nagagalit agad ako and I'm short fused. So we really want to be giving the body what it needs, and that sunlight, 10 to 20 minutes of sunlight per day will, set up our biological clocks, makes us sleep better
Okay.
at night. And get moving. 10 minutes, both indoor and outdoor kind of physical activity is helpful. It doesn't matter if you do 10 minutes of straight jumping jacks, jumping on, jogging on place. You really want to break a sweat. Sometimes you just have to hack the body so that, you can treat the brain. I always say that the mind and the brain is connected to the body not just by the neck. Diba? There's a lot of
Yeah.
biochemical. Yes. So we really want to treat the body well. And if you're feeling negative sometimes, try to eat an apple, a banana, and less so on chocolates and snacks. So that's
Well,
gonna be helpful as well.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I know.
ask, what about chocolate?
Go for dark. Go for dark
Dark.
chocolate.
Okay,
Yeah.
I eat dark chocolate, which is good.
Right.
Okay.
So there it is. Yes. So you want to get moving, both indoor or outdoor. So set a routine, get moving. And number three is get connected. So you can imagine a perfect day being you wake up on the same time that you planned the previous day. You're focused on one thing today and you want to check that off your list.
Mhm.
Then you dressed up, you cleaned the house where you broke some sweat, playing good music, and that's good. And then you want to be satisfying your social health needs, and that is connecting with people you care about. And if you can do, I always challenge the millennials, if you can do a 15-second rather story in IG, what
Uh-huh.
is in the way of you recording yourself for 15 seconds and sending your grandmother, grandfather, mother, dad, brother, and I miss you, right?
That's even
What?
less, to be honest.
Yes,
In 15 seconds,
right.
yeah.
So what gets in the way? It's a rhetorical question. Send a video or if you're not comfortable with that, an audio recording would do. It just gives a lot of warmth to the people you want to be connecting with. And you'll realize when you connect with them, you also give yourself a favor and like, oh nga pala, kumusta na siya? Like that comes in your mind. It makes you connected. In this time of physical and social distancing, I mean, this is really invaluable,
Mhm.
getting connected. So that's the third. So we're into the last now. So
Mhm.
again, to repeat, get set up with routines, move your body.
Mm-mm.
Three is get connected socially, and finally, and for me, this is more importantly, get some support. Especially if the first three habits do not help, get some help, get some support. You can be weak and vulnerable, and we will find that when we try to accept that weakness, then we can start to know what's not working and what's working. So parang you can capitalize on your strength, and for me are like I echo those tips because they I think are valuable
Yeah.
for you to get together your well-being and mental health.
And those are really great tips. Thank you, Norman. And I hope
Mm,
those listening really took down Norman's words. I
right,
took note. I took note. Those are
right.
really
I
good.
can see.
Actually.
Yes, nice, really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Okay. I have another question.
Okay,
Let's say you have a friend. All right, and your friend, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. You're doing okay. You're having a great day, and then all of a sudden, your very close friend of yours, or even your best friend,
right,
messages you and says, "I'm feeling this. I don't know what to do. Today is just not
right,
my day. I'm feeling
right.
really down." How do you approach your friend, especially if you don't know what to say? You know,
Right.
you want to be there for that person, but then you also don't know what to say.
See
What?
that you answered it, Erica, and
No,
that's to
yes.
simply be there. You just
Okay.
need to be there.
Mhm.
A lot of us run the mistake of trying to solve another person's problem.
Mhm.
Um, and actually, if you dig deeper in the concern that they're telling you, you'd realize they're not really trying to solve the problem. They're not asking you to help them solve the problem. Sometimes they would, but for the most part, it's about them being able to have someone they can rely on to listen to what they're going through.
Okay.
And the key ultimately is not even to Actually, sometimes I even reply, Erica, because this has happened to me, obviously, that some friends would reach out to me.
Mhm.
And I actually sometimes quite genuinely and honestly with a lot of candor, I just tell them, wow, that's difficult. Right? That's my reply. Like
Mhm.
that's difficult. Because I truly find it difficult. Na parang, oh nga no, ang hirap
Yeah.
yan.
Oh.
Sabi ko, pare, mahirap yan. And then he or she would tell me more about the problem, and I would say, wow, so you've been thinking about this, right? You've been obviously taking a lot of time thinking about this, and with the pandemic and everything going on, this is on top of your head, and I can only imagine how difficult it is to, balance work, have these thoughts and feelings, be a mother or a father, be a brother to a sister. Like, I just acknowledge them, and then when I say that, in a very interesting manner, when I acknowledge how they feel and when I put it into context, they realize, wow, yeah, I'm a strong person. I'm going through this while trying to handle many things. And it becomes from a deficit model, which is what I cannot do, the things I'm missing to do. It becomes a strength based model. And that is, oo nga 'no, sa kabila ng lahat, nagagawa ko pa rin 'to ta's namumble pa. Parang the person just realizes, "Oh, pinapartidahan ko pa 'tong emotions ko." And if I mean, if I'm only going to work on my emotions, if I'm not going to think about my job and my family, I'll
Mm.
be able to sort this out, 'di ba? But as humans, we know that, um, a story I saw on social media, sometimes your social media is good if you follow good social media.
Yes.
Yeah,
True.
like VH1 Radio and making a
Oh,
difference on on Facebook,
wow.
and Liferisks too, of course.
Yes, of
But
course.
a pilot talked about turbulence, right?
Okay.
An airplane turbulence, and he said that when a plane goes to turbulence, he or she, the pilot, doesn't panic, right? It does not feel comfortable, but he is well aware that the plane is built to withstand turbulence, right?
Yes.
So sometimes we have to trust the plane. And
Mhm.
that means we need to trust ourselves that
Mhm.
at the back of this all, you
Mhm.
know, today is challenging, but at the back of this all, I've faced more challenging things. I've seen crazier things. Of course, it's difficult to compare. COVID-19 is really difficult, but it's to really trust your habits. It's trust what you do best, and that is really doing what is true to you. And that is, if it's listening to music, watching a movie, talking to a friend, doing a podcast, opening a vlog on YouTube, whatever it is that you find strength, playing musical instruments, doing online selling, just you need to dig deep on this one. And of course, at the end of the day, our goal is to survive. I mean, we can talk about being successful in our careers. Remember the first few months of the pandemic, Erica, a lot of people are, posting certificates that they're attending webinars and all that for free, right?
Mm.
That was the first phase. And then the second phase is the Dalgona coffee. Everyone's baking now. And then
Yeah.
we come into a phase where everything is selling online.
Yes.
And if you see this from that perspective, makita mo, okay, at the first time, we can still afford the quarantine measures. We can still do things that make us grow.
Yeah.
But as the pandemic becomes longer, ano nangyari? Dalgona coffee baking, which means we're trying to make ourselves happy. We're trying to cope. Kasi parang it's getting challenging. And
Yeah.
then when our financial resources has started to dip, especially those who have lost their employment, they now transition to other forms of business online. So
Right.
we'll see na parang, oo nga, nagbabago yung coping mechanism natin in response to this pandemic as it goes further. But that's a very long-winded answer. But the point I'm trying to make is the thing I would say to someone who's struggling is to acknowledge that I understand that it's difficult, but remind them in your own way, and as genuine and as authentic as you can. Tell them, you know what, the goal is just to survive this year. If we survive this pandemic, the goal is not to be successful, or if you can, then do it if that makes you happy. But at the bottom of it all, you need to get through. A lot of people are dying, and that's the elephant in the room. You want to be surviving, not only for you but for your family, for your loved ones. So that's my tip: acknowledge the difficulty, embrace it, help yourself, and then trust that you can do it and survive.
I like that. Thank you so much for sharing, Norman. I really
Mm.
appreciate all your insights. They're very, very helpful, especially now that we're all going through this pandemic together. And once again, happy Mental Health Day.
Yes, today is
Okay,
that.
so given all of this, everything that we've talked about, maybe there you have um, your final words. Final words. Tama
Right.
ba yun? Anyway, the last
Yep.
words that you want to
Final
say
bit. Yeah.
to the viewers out there. And if you want to give shout outs as well, go ahead. I think your brother is
Oh, he
here.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark is
Yeah.
my brother. Bunso
Natawa ako,
namin. Yeah.
well, natawa ako when I read this comment. I started not.
When
I
you
started
said we should not.
nodding when you said we should not. I don't know if
Yeah.
you saw this, Mark, but I was also nodding my head to Norman when he
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So go
Yes.
ahead.
And yeah, so greetings to everyone who are listening in this very wonderful episode, timely, in fact, episode of Making a Difference. Um, first, I wanted to thank everyone who is following us on Facebook, Life Risk PH. We've been to the start of like having only 800 likes, 1,000, and then we're celebrating at 2,000, and lo and behold, now we are in 12,000 following in Facebook, and we're really happy with that. And I hope you continue to follow us, because the only thing we want is to have people view mental health and well-being with no stigma,
Mhm.
and then to have them seek some help if necessary or if needed. We are nothing without our volunteers. Our team is just I cannot say enough good things about our team. They're working very hard, and I want to say sorry in public for missing the meeting last Tuesday. I very rarely
Oh,
miss those, but yeah, but when you're down, stay down. So but yeah, I want to remind everyone that, yeah, like I said, if you need to acknowledge how you're feeling, and at the bottom of it all, we just quite simply need to survive. We Now, what we should focus on is just doing our best. Do
mhm.
your best on whatever it is you have control over, and then the rest takes care of itself. And then if you fail to do your best today, I mean, it's cliche, but tomorrow is another day. So try your best to just take it one step at a time, and help yourself move forward. Of course, a final bit would be to invite you to have volunteer work with us. We want to work with like-minded people who care about well-being and mental health. Let's save lives, one post, one volunteer work at a time.
All right. Thank you, Norman. And speaking of volunteer, where can we find you? Where can we contact you?
Right. So we get all of our connections via our Facebook page, and that's Liferisks PH. You can also send us an email at liferisksph@gmail.com. That's where we get all our connections as well. If you visit our page and like it and follow it, you'll get a lot of our trend. We have Motivation Mondays by Sir Archie, one of our volunteers as well. So we post good quotes every Monday to you kind of kick the week off. And yeah, Life Risk PH. Thank you.
Got it. Got it. All right. So if you want to know more about Life Risks PH, if you want to volunteer for them, check them out on Facebook at Life Risks PH, or you can email them, liferisksph@gmail.com. Am
Right. I
I
won't be able to fall asleep, Erica, if I don't send a shout out to my girlfriend Gemma, who's tuning in, to my mom Marife,
right?
to my dad Mon, to Matthew, who's my brother, and to Mark, of course, he's tuning in. Thank you for tuning in and for supporting. Yeah.
Hello po, Mendoza family.
Family. Yep. Yep.
Norman's girlfriend. Sana all. I
Sana.
finally use that on my show. You know what? I've been wanting to a bit here on
It's the
making
finale. It's the finale. You've earned it, Erica.
well.
You've
Get
earned it.
it all out. Okay,
Right.
thank you so much, Norman, for coming today. I really enjoyed our talk. And this is actually the best way to spend my season finale. Really timely mental health day, and then I have Life Risks PH. I have you
Right.
on. I learned so
Yeah.
much, and I hope
Wow,
my
thank
viewers
you.
learned a lot as well. Again, Norman, thank you so much, and I hope to meet you in person.
Right. Right.
Everything's
When everything's
when
exactly.
everything's
Yeah.
fine, and I really do hope and pray to see your future plans push through. Yeah,
Yes, we
I'm
have
really
high hopes.
for that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Norman. I'll see
Thank
you
you very
soon.
much, Erica.
See
Thank
you
you.
later.
Take care, everyone. Tech
Bye.
team, thank you very much. Good job. V81 Radio. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
So there was Norman. He again is the co-founder and advisor for Life Risks PH. Now we're not quite done just yet. Okay. I actually in the beginning of the show I said that we have a very very special announcement, and our final guest is here for today. He's here. His name is Miguel Santiago, and he is going to talk about their very, very special event called the Philippine Festival of Youth Action 2020. So I'd like to call on Miguel Santiago.
Hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello
Okay.
po.
Hi.
I'm
Okay.
Miguel Santiago. I'm a part of co-presenters for PFYA, or the Philippine Festival of Youth Action 2020. So our event, the objective of our event basically is to showcase local youth actions and initiatives for the global goals and communities from every region. So gusto namin na ma-showcase lahat ng mga local initiatives ng mga youth towards our UN SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals. Yan. And we also want to solidify the mainstream consciousness and awareness of these global goals to the Filipino youth. Ayan. So, karamihan ngayon, no, marami pong mga kabataan kagaya ko na sumasali ng mga webinar at ng mga events regarding the sustainable development goals. And most of these events are held by national organizations or mga organizations na kilala na. Minsan lang kasi ma-showcase po yung mga regional initiatives, masalo na yung mga maliliit na local organizations that do actual groundwork. So, ayun po yung gusto talaga naming ma-showcase dito. And we also want to build a culture of collaboration between those local organizations and between us, the co-presenters, which are already national organizations. Para naman, in the future, we can open up really, really nice partnerships. So, itong event na to, ang daming-daming nag-organize ito. We have 9 co-presenters, and I'm from one of them. I'm from one of the co-presenters, which is Youth Advocates for the Philippines. And the other co-presenters are ISEC in the Philippines, JCI Philippines, Kabataan sa Kartilya ng Katipunan, Kabataang Lingkod Bayan ng Pilipinas, National Youth Volunteers Coalition, Rotaract Philippines MDIO, SKC Philippines, and Samahan ng Kabataang Voluntaryo ng Pilipinas. So napakadaming malalaking organisasyon po ang nagtulong-tulong para ma-achieve tong event na to. The event will be on October 20 to October 26. So, ayan. So sa morning po, we'll have from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., we'll have side events from many partner organizations. Then from around 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., dyan na namin i-showcase yung mga local initiatives from different local organizations and from our own organizations in the regional level. So every day po, there are a group of regions na aming i-represent and aming i-showcase. So yan, isipin nyo na lang parang nag-assemble yung Avengers dito ng mga sa dami ng mga organizations po na nag-collaborate to achieve this kind of an event. So this is definitely a first, and this is definitely will be an amazing event. So yeah.
So where can we find this event?
So you can find us on Facebook. Just type in Philippine Festival of Youth Action. We have our page there, and in our page is the link to the registration. So you can register, I think, up until the day before the event, or even at the day of the event itself. So ayan, marami pa tayong time mag-register, and I hope you guys come.
All right, and this is October 20 to 26.
Yes, the third week of October.
third week, so malapit na. I'm very sure you guys are
October 25 pala. October 20 to October 25.
okay. October 20 to 25. And yeah, oh nga, no, parang, now that you mentioned it, parang Avengers nga, Avengers Assembly. But this is really exciting. Is there a fee to join?
No, the event is completely free, and for those who can't register for some reason, you can also you can still see the event from our Facebook page pa rin. And even the Facebook pages of the co-presenting organizations. I think it will be broadcasted there also.
Okay, great. There's going to be so much. I'm very, very sure. I will actually register for that event right
Yeah.
after this show. But thank you, Miguel, so much again to my viewers out there. Please join this Philippine Festival of Youth Action 2020. This seems very interesting. If you want to know more on the different or youth organizations here, this is the event to go to. This is the event of the year. Oh, diba? Event of the year. Okay, but again, thank you so much, Miguel,
Thank
for
you.
talking about your event, and I wish you guys all the best. And I'll see you there. I'll see you guys there.
Thank you din po for the opportunity to promote our
Of
business.
course, of course. Thank you so much, Miguel. I'll see
Thank you po.
you. Bye. There you go again. So the Philippine Festival of Youth Action 2020 will be on October 20 to 25. Like what Miguel said, it's just like an Avengers assembly. You are gonna see almost all the youth organizations here in the country, and this is gonna be a very big event. So I suggest you guys register. You can check out the event naman on Facebook. Again, it's called the Philippine Festival of Youth Action 2020. And that ends our episode for today and my last episode for season 2. Again, thank you so much. I'm very overwhelmed. I'm really enjoying being your anchor for making a difference. And, this has been a very great journey for me. I've met so much great people. They have amazing ideas, and it's nice to learn from them. And I hope you all learned from them through these past 2 seasons that I had. Sorry, I just want to thank you again to Sir Rolly and Sir Charlie for giving me this opportunity to be part of the V81 Radio family. I'd like to also thank, of course, the tech team. Nako, the best tech team ever talaga. As in, pati si Aliyah nagsabi din sa comments, best tech team. Sorry, pero sila talaga yung best tech team eh. Ate Din, Kuya Robbie, Kuya Jason, Ate Dax also. Thank you guys so much. You've helped me, you've helped everyone here in V81 Radio. So super, super thankful. And I hope to see you guys in person soon. And the rest of the V81 Radio South Manila anchors, thank you guys also so much. And we are still coming out with new shows. So stay tuned for that. And of course, I'd like to thank also my family. They've been supporting me since day one of making a difference. Always full production every Saturday. My shout out to my dad, to my mom. Should I say your names? They're looking at me right now. Okay, so Noel and Tasha Mison. Oh, there, you guys. Your names are out there already. My sisters, Sophia and Francesca Mison as well. Thank you guys for continuing to support me. I know lagging full production every Saturday, but thank you so much. And to my friends who would always watch and share and like my posts, again, thank you, thank you. And to those who, would introduce me to the different guests that I have, thank you guys so much. I'm very blessed to have friends like you guys. And of course, I'd like to thank God for giving me this opportunity. I know this came from Him, so I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity talaga. So, that's it. And don't worry, I'm back for season 3. Kala nyo ba na mag-e-end na ba ako? No. I'm back for season 3. But I will be on break until until November 7. So my first episode of season 3 will be on November 7. But don't worry, we are actually gonna play a couple of episodes same time every Saturday, rewind episodes. So you won't miss me too much. You'll still see me on screen. If you want to watch more of my other episodes from season 1 and season 2, all my episodes are on Making a Difference Facebook page and also on V81 Radio's YouTube channel. So they're all there, including the other shows that we have under V81 Radio South Manila. We have Beauty in a Box with Aliyah Ambray. She was here hanging around the comment section a while ago. She's also on break, but I know she'll be back very soon. We also have Talk Shop Asia, Napalm. That's the new alternative new Pinoy alternative music. Yeah. That's with Sir Charlie and Sir Fards. If you've seen all the commercials on Napalm, that's it. That's a show. And of course, last but not the least, let's chat with Tita Gracie, with of course your host, Tita Gracie. And then we have a new show. Actually, we have a new show called Practical Magic. Wow, Practical Magic. I'm sorry, I'm just seeing this right now. After Tita Gracie. Okay, so tomorrow, usually on Sundays, is Talk Shop Asia, Napalm, Tita, let's chat with Tita Gracie, and new show, Practical Magic, 8 to 9:30. Start na ba tomorrow? Yan, Ate Din? I'm not so sure, but I think start na siya. So, yeah, so there. And we're gonna have more shows. Okay, sorry, nag-start na pala si Practical Magic. I should check that out. Okay, and yeah, so that's about it for today. I hope you learned something, especially today. Today was a very nice and refreshing episode. I know everybody needs it, not just the youth, but everybody of all people of all ages talaga. So I hope you all learned something, and I hope that you are doing okay. Again, I know I end my show with this. Please wear your masks if you need to go out. Masks and face shields required na. So please don't forget to wear your masks, face masks and face shields. If you need to go out, practice social distancing, proper hygiene, you guys. And yeah, that's about it. So again, thank you all so much. Thank you for giving me the best 2 seasons I've had so far with Making a Difference. I will see you guys on November 7, same time, same place. Bye everyone, stay safe.
The program for the millennials that will showcase young professionals' worth, aspirations, and successes in doing what they believe is right, progressive, and inclusive. Making a difference. Making a difference. Join them as they discover the path to self and societal fulfillment while making a difference. Hosted by empowered and cool millennial Erika Mison. Together with her cool millennials, they will be making a difference. Every Saturday, 3 p.m. Philippine time. Only here on V81 Radio. South Manila. Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio, South Manila.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan.